clearly there wasn't enough drink taken. Hello everybody, and welcome. I think I know most of you, but in case you don't know me, I've got feedback. My name is Dave Broom. I'm going to be the moderator for the next few days of the World Whisky Forum. So I'm just going to say a few words of welcome. Thank you all for coming. This is extraordinary. It hardly seems any time at all that we were all standing on a frozen lake in Sweden with glasses actually sticking to our hands because the temperature was so cold. Starting the very first World Whisky Forum at High Coast. And I don't think we ever thought we'd end up like this. And it doesn't seem any time at all that we were just in touch with Koji and Ian at Komoro, and they were saying, can we host the next World Whisky Forum in Japan? And we went, yes. So thank you, Koji, thank you, Ian, and thank you to the whole team, Koji and the whole team. They've been absolutely amazing. Japanese organisation is second to none, and it's been a very interesting, and I have to apologise actually to our hosts for our European improvisatory ways of getting different things done, and kept us on the right track, so thank you very much indeed. This is the biggest number of delegates that we've ever had, so we've got a room of 100 people, which is absolutely extraordinary. And also the most diverse range in terms of countries. So we've got 16 countries represented here from the world of whisky, and I think that's absolutely remarkable and worthy of a round of applause. It's actually 17 if you count Yorkshire as a country. Or 18 if you count Tasmania here, so I'll leave you to fight that bit out for yourselves. So just a few kind of words of not just welcome, but a little bit of housekeeping. The exit is over there. Toilets through there and also downstairs. That's all you need to know about that. Just to give you an idea of what the forum is about for the newcomers, it was all Jan's idea. Jan's down it, Jan, stand up. He's the man to blame. And Jan came up with the idea and invited Ingvar and I to Ingvar, stand up. We're going to do this to everybody in the room, by the way, so you're tired. And then Zoe came on board. Thank God, Zoe. Zoe keeps us vaguely online. And the whole idea that Jan had and that we've developed over the past 4 was this idea of creating a space within the world of whisky, so that people would just join together and discuss and debate and exchange ideas and learn from each other. And we're not just talking about small distillers or large distillers. There's some of the biggest distillers in the world represented here today, and some of the newest as well. That's the whole point of it. The whole point is that we're all together, and this is what today's whisky is all about. There's no barriers here at all. We're going to have a welcome session today. I'm going to hand over to Yoshi and Koji in a while. Ian's going to take us through some more details on the Q&A after that, etc., etc. But tomorrow and the day after, whatever day it is, I'm still jet lagged, I can't remember what day of the week it is. I blame Chichibu for that. But each session will have either 3 or 4 speakers. The way it works is that all the speakers give their presentations, and then after that, we then have the Q&A rather than breaking it up all the way through. I'll be asking some questions, but the important thing about this as being an open forum is that we get questions from you guys. And what I think the most marvellous thing that we've found about forums in the past is the way that this, quite often you get this kind of barrier almost between the people on stage and the people there who are listening. that barrier does not exist. So there were people giving their ideas and sharing their ideas. If you have a question, don't hold it and go, well, I'll catch up with them later on, because you probably won't, because there's so many of us. Just ask about it. The whole thing is all about sharing. And why here? Why have we come to Japan? Because it was important to come and look at the Asia Pacific region, because I think it's filled with some of the most remarkable whiskey makers and remarkable whiskey thinkers in the world at the moment. Some amazing things that are getting made here, and I think it's really important to examine what is going on here and how then this extraordinary community in Asia, the wider Asia Pacific region, can draw together and work together, sharing resources. It's about the rebirth of distilling, it's about birth of new distilling, it's about moving whiskey forward. And that's really maybe the most important thing about the forum. This is about generating ideas and moving whiskey forward in a positive way. And I think it's really important that we do this at this particular time, because without wishing to cast a pall of kind of Caledonian misery on the room, I think we're all aware that the whiskey market is softening. We're not in decline, but the whiskey market is undoubtedly kind of softening at the moment. Whether it's a blip and it's just coming back to pre-COVID levels, we're not very sure. There's greater choice for consumers, but there's probably greater capacity. So too much capacity. It's important at this point that we all come together, because a distillery, it's interesting, I was talking to Cody last night, a distillery is a community in its own right. People who work in a distillery create their own community. A distillery is a community within a community, within Komoro, for example, or any of the communities that you're all working at. And then it's a community within the overall region as well. And it's important that all of you work together to pull whiskey forward. And then it's a community with global reach. The fact that we've got 16 countries, we're all part of the same world. We are whiskey. And it's important at times like this, when the market is perhaps softening a little bit, that we don't just become, and I'm including us, even us, including us, we writers. It's important that we don't just kind of retrench, that we actually work together to educate and bring in new distillers, new consumers to begin to learn and love whiskey. It's a really important time to be able to do this. And we can do it, and we will do it, and hopefully some of the ideas that will be generated over the next few days will help us in that mission to get whiskey moving forward in a positive way. So without any more ado, I think I can say World Whiskey Forum number 5 is open! And now some words I never thought I would ever say. We have some words from the governor.
ので長野県としても、ぜひこうした地域特性を生かしながら、そういったさまざまな関係者の皆さんのお力をいただきながら、このウイスキーの仕事をはじめとするお酒の製造を、地域の活性化、そして産業の振興へとぜひつなげていきたいというふうに思っています。そういう観点で、今回のコール、大変意義があるものだというふうに考えています。小諸市の皆さんが活動されているさまざまなツアー、そしてこの領域の皆様が主催をされているこうしたさまざまなイベントを通じて、多くの皆さんに、ぜひこの日本の長野県のウイスキーに参考していただきたいと思いますし、また我々地域が取り組むさまざまな活動に、どうか今日は申し上げる皆様にはご協力いただけるというふうに思っております。海外、そして、現在をお越しいただいた皆様では、ぜひ長野県での開催をお楽しみいただきたいというふうに思っておりますし、ぜひ皆様と共に、このウイスキー文化をこの品種からしっかりと発信をしていきたいと思っております。よろしくになりますが、このコーラルの成功を心よりお願い申し上げますとともに、今日はそういただいている皆様の力で、ウイスキー文化がさらに発展していきますことを心から願って、私からのお祝いの挨拶をしたいと思います。本日は本当におめでとうございます。
Yeah, I think we've arrived. Thank you, that was wonderful. I'd like to now introduce Koji to come and give a little bit of a perspective on what happened, the stimulus behind building this phenomenal distillery. Over to you.
Thank you. First of all, esteemed guests and industry colleagues, thank you very much for travel far from all over the world to attend this exciting event. And also, I'd like to give a special thank you to the World Whisky Forum organizers for your team for choosing Komoro as a venue for the Whisky Forum, so 2024. Okay, so just a little introduction of myself. I have 3 careers after spending 25 years in banking and moved into hospitality business in Karizawa. And then I started distillery. So the dream of building a distillery actually started from 2008. That was after Lehman crisis. So there's a small distillery in the area. They decided to close. So that was a moment in life that I think I want to maybe create something that can make real whiskey, also can make it work. So Komoro Distillery, the vision is to create a global brand from Komoro. So this was a dream, 15 years in making, and also, I spent 7 years to search for a suitable building site. So now, thankfully, because we got Komoro Distillery, the full support from Komoro City, so we've been able to find this place. And the Komoro Distillery, so what we want to achieve here is first, quality comes first. And then second, to provide extraordinary experience. So here you can see when we designed this distillery from scratch, Ian, myself, and also the engineers from Foresight, and also our architect, Soto-san, we spent weeks to discuss how to bring our vision into reality. So here you can see the setup is here, and we put the distilling room and also the experience center into one place. And also we want to have our visitors coming out of the distillery to find something they have learned, they have enjoyed, and also they remember the Komoro brand. So, which I think is very important as a business. And also, Komoro Distillery is working very closely with the local community. So we have been certified by the government as the local leading economic revitalization enterprise. So we are really proud of that. So I would like to let Yoshi and Ian to talk about the details about what we want to achieve at Komoro Distillery. Thank you.
Wow, so many guests. My name is Yoshi Shimaoka, and in my company, in our company, there are two Shimaokas. The other one is just spoken to you, my husband, and CEO of this company. Previously, I was a business consultant and investment banker, and I now serve as a CFO of this company, and also I have been a witness of this exciting project from the very beginning. And I'm a huge fan of Ian Chung. I have a strong desire to share this wonderful project to as many people as possible. And one of the areas I'm very excited is to be able to contributing to developing whiskey tourism. I believe there are a couple of key elements for the whiskey tourism. The first and most important factor, of course, is our passion and dedication to make quality whiskey with its own house style. Based on that, as Koji mentioned, we believe support by local community and unique contents are very important. Good whiskey, good community, and good contents. Later, you will hear from Ian directly about our Indian whiskey. I would like to tell you a little bit about other key factors that have been our growth driver. First is about the community. Komoro City has been supporting our project from the very beginning. Actually, the land where our warehouse built is used to be owned by Komoro City. They really liked our project and valued our contribution to the community. After a building completion ceremony, the governor of Nagano Prefecture, mayors of Komoro and Kamizawa, and as well as representatives from all the important business community people, including railway and bus companies and chambers of commerce, all attended. You have just seen a video message from Governor of Nagano, and tonight, so you will see the mayor of Komoro and Kamizawa, so will join us for the opening dinner. We would like to turn Komoro into a global blend. And so with the whiskey tourism at the core of attracting tourists and whiskey fans, which I believe they're highly valued by the local government and communities. As Koji mentioned earlier, the Komoro Distillery is now recognized as a model project for local revitalization. As many of you have experienced during the tour earlier, the distillery was designed with a strong intention by Koji and Ian to make it like an exhibition where visitors can completely observe the whiskey making process from milling to distillation. And so that people after that, they can relax in the bar overlooking the operation. In our tasting courses, we developed and offered the original classes. The former brand ambassador for AFEM, and now the chief educator of Komoro Distillery under the name of Whisky Academy, or we call Komoro Academy. These classes cater to everyone from those who have never tried whiskey to whiskey connoisseurs, introducing delicious whiskey all over the world. Currently, we offer 5 courses, including Tasting 101, Production 101, Art of Maturation, Story of Peat, and Cocktail Making classes. And following this forum, we plan to launch a new course titled Tribute to Dr. Jim Swan. So honoring his contribution in introducing whiskeys from distilleries he has influenced to keep his memory alive in people's hearts. We also put in a lot of effort on developing our shop products, especially on introducing the Komoro style glasses. These 3 glasses were developed by Ian Chan to enjoy the whiskey. This is our showcase of our passion and love toward whiskey. Each glass is handcrafted in a Japanese glass-making factory, making mass production difficult. The unique shapes of the glasses enhance the different aromas of the whiskey, allowing for the varieties of sensory experiences, even with the same whiskey. As part of our effort to globalize the Komoro brand, we aim to popularize these essential, enjoyable experiences with the Komoro style glasses. And please feel free to enjoy for yourself during the break, during this the forum, so you can enjoy that downstairs at the bar. Lastly, I'd like to introduce a little bit about our Komoro Distillery logo that contains the 3 rings. The one represents people, and another represents place, and the third represents craftsmanship. It also represents the connection between past, present, and future. We will continue to dedicate ourselves to Komoro Distillery, aiming for it to be cherished by the local community and whiskey lovers in the world for the next 100, 200, and 300 years and beyond. I'm very honored and thankful to have this opportunity to speak in front of you, the whiskey professionals with vast experiences. We would be delighted to hear from you and exchange ideas throughout the World Whiskey Forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yoshi. What a fantastic project this is, you know, the attention to detail, as I'm sure. You can see, you know, just the love and the care in terms of just the look alone. And then once you go around the distillery itself, you see that attention to detail being born in the remarkable whiskies which are already being made. So I think without any more ado, we might as well speak to the man who's behind what is being created here, Mr. Ian Chan.
First of all, you have to be very slim to get out. You know, it's been 2 years now in Japan, and I find Japanese food irresistible. I gained 12 kilograms. And now it's time to lose weight. So, I thank Koji and Yoshi for the introduction of our distillery. Just in case some of you might wonder why I left Kaplan. The reason was actually quite simple, because I have enough with the heavy traveling around the world. because especially the last 3 years of my day at Kaplan, the owner asked me to be the brand ambassador, and that is actually very enjoyable to begin with. You travel around the world, 200 days out of 365 days a year. But after second year, I thought it was a bit heavy, and then third year, fourth year, I thought, this is enough, because for my second daughter, I don't even know how she grew up. So because I was constantly on the road. So that's why in 2020, in January, when COVID, started, I thought that was a perfect opportunity to stop and to have a rest. And I think Fukuyo-san emailed me when I left Kaplan to find out why. So that was actually, it's very simple because I had enough of traveling. So once I left, I thought Brendan, set up his own consultancy. I was thinking of doing the same. Not that I'm very good, but I enjoy, working with many producers. So that's how I was introduced to my partner Koji and also Yoshie, because through a mutual friend, he introduced me to Koji and saying that there's a gentleman in Japan wanting to set up a brand new distillery. Would I be interested? And I thought the answer is, of course, yes. Being from Taiwan, we love Japan because a very similar culture and also geographically very close as well. So that's how I, ended up here. But initially, actually, I was working with Koji as he was one of my clients, but he gave me a too good to refuse package. So I relocated to Japan. And I sold my house and I sold my car in Taiwan. So I passed the point of no return. Last week in Yokohama Whisky Festival, some people asked me, are you based in Taiwan and come to Japan from time to time, to work on this project? The answer is no, I'm full-time here. And also, Koji has built a very nice house for me in Karizawa. So I don't go back to Taiwan anymore. My family, they come here for holidays. So in front of you, we have two glasses. One is transparent, the one on the left-hand side. So this is our new make spirit. Please feel free to nose it or to try it on the palate. So basically, as Dave mentioned just now, and also Koji mentioned, right from the beginning, we designed our distillery to combine with the visitor center. So all the visitors can see everything, how we produce our new make. And we are very fortunate that here at Komoro, we have very good water for fermentation. I was talking to Fukuyo-san just now regarding, new make production and so on. So I think we are very blessed here in Komoro because of the good water. And don't get me wrong, I know some people might think that because whiskey is a distilled spirit, you don't have to worry about water quality, but that's not true. I think from Jim's point of view, up to fermentation, water is actually very important because you need to be able to do a very good fermentation. And just now when you went inside, I don't know if you saw the fermentation quality. The bubble is very fine and also very creamy. I think that's personally that's a good indication of a good fermentation because all these flavor congeners that you can nose, starting from peach and then surrounded by a little bit strawberry and green apple and also kiwi as well. And then in the background, you have a little bit lychee or lychee. All these congeners, they come from fermentation. And when it comes to the yeast we use here itself is actually a cocktail as well. So we have a combination of different yeasts together, and then we pitch, right at the beginning after the mashing. And then after about 70 hours or 72 hours, we can have a very good wash of beer. And then we do our double distillation. to come up with something like this, which personally I think is quite complex and also quite clean, and with the right nuances to be put into the cask for maturation. And that's why on the right-hand side, you can have this is a 4-month-old newborn. I mean, in Japan it's called newborn, or you can call it maturing spirits. This is 4-month-old. And this is something that I created, I improvised, because we just started last June and July, so we don't have many old stuff to share. This is a combination of different casks to be put together. And both the new make and the newborn, these are 46% alcohol, because we believe that by diluting it down to 46, that's the best strength for you to know and to experience all these complexities. So a 4-month-old newborn, personally, I think that it is on the right track. I always think of our new make and newborn, like how do you say that, the fetus, the very young baby in the womb that started to develop with 2 arms and 2 legs and so on. So far, I think this is developing on the right track. So hopefully 4 years later, 10 years later, or even 12, 20 later, the quality will improve even further. Because as Jim always told me, that if you can have a good new make to begin with, maturation is only there to make sure that things become better and better as time goes. And we are very lucky that here at Komoro, once again, the climate is not as hot as Taiwan. Taiwan is subtropical, but here we have much cooler, I would say colder actually, for me, climate. So we don't have to worry about over maturation, because in the heat of Taiwan, if you're not careful, too much wood extracts will go into the spirit. So here we are really blessed with the water, the climate, the humidity, and everything. And also, I'm very lucky that all my colleagues, they are willing to speak and communicate in English with me. So I would like to learn Japanese in the future. Hopefully, in 5 years' time, maybe I can conduct a master class in Japanese. So, oh, by the way, if you went into our production just now, you must have noticed that we have a very young team. So I was talking today just now, once again, Jim's advice for me is if you're looking for colleagues or your colleagues to work in the distillery, it's better to find someone with no experience, because it's like a clean canvas and you can paint the painting yourself. Otherwise, some might say that no, this is not the way to do it, and we want to do it the previous way and so on. But we are very lucky that these are all fresh graduates, and they are willing to work very consistently, day in and day out, every day. Personally, I think that quality whiskey consists of both quality and consistency. We don't want to produce something that is very good today, but then next week maybe the standard drop to not so satisfactory. We want to maintain it all, even if it's not very good to begin with, you want to maintain it as well. Because fluctuation in quality, that is something that not very good for a blender at the end of maturation when you want to blend. You want to have something that is very consistent in all types of casks to work with. So, hopefully, this is just our second year. We started our production last June, and the very first cask was filled on the 14th of July. That was a Mizunaru cask. So we are in the very early days, and Toshi and I look forward to English here as well, to to our own 30-year-old single whiskey. I need to do more exercise. The lead that long. I'll be 78, can you believe it? So that's it. Thank you, and enjoy the forum. Cheers.
Actually, sorry, we've got Q&A now, you've got to stay on. You don't get away that easily. You definitely bring the drums with you. You know, this could be a long session. Absolutely great. My goodness, the spirit is absolutely fantastic. You know, to get that level of complexity in a new thing is a really, really great achievement. A beautiful texture as well. It's yeah, definitely going in the right direction, which kind of made me think, what is the starting point for a distiller? You know, are you aiming towards a flavour and then almost like retrofitting it, or where? When your blank canvas, where do you start?
So I think to begin with, you must have a blueprint in your mind first. You know, what kind of, for example, when it comes to innate, what kind of flavor you want to begin with. And then you start to do experiments by using different yeasts and also different fermentation conditions. And then eventually to experiment with your cut points to find out, you know, what kind of character you want. So I think initially with the blueprint and then with all these experiments, it's actually quite easy to finalize the quality once you start to, you know, do all these experiments.
I mean, so for example, you know, in Kaplan, it was a simple process, right? But you were coming here, were you then looking at the conditions here and going, actually, I'm not just going to do everything that I did in Kaplan, but actually I need to adapt it to suit the conditions, or even try something new?
That's right. So with Kaplan as my foundation, so when we discovered this particular space, land here in Komoro, Koji and I, we studied the temperature profile, the humidity profile for the past 10 years to see the average. And that's how we decide what kind of fermentation, for example, the initial temperature to set. For example, in Kaplan, because of the very hot climate, you need to set the initial temperature at a much lower temperature to begin with. But last summer was actually, when we first started, it was actually quite hot. Apparently, it was the hottest summer in 40 years or something. So that's why at that time we tried, Kaplan's initial fermentation temperature, and everything was fine. But then up to beginning of October and then November, the weather here, temperature started to drop quite sharply. So we have to do changes to the initial temperature, and that's how it's all about trial and error. So I would say that we don't even produce whiskey for 1 year yet. This is only our 6 or 7 months. So we are still trying to finalize some other conditions. So hopefully 1 year later, we will be able to set everything. And also, as you know, these two copper pot stills, they are brand new. So it takes some time to condition. It's like a car engine. When you have a brand new car, you don't drive it, very hard. You drive it slowly in order for the cylinders to optimize it. So we are also in that phase at the moment. So I think 1 year later, when these two pot stills, especially the internal surface, should be fully conditioned, and then we can, do some other experiments.
I know, also, like a slightly more technical side, if you look at the cells, it seems to be slightly perverse. And there are some distilleries like this, but you've got, a spirit still that's twice the size of the wash. What was the idea, what was the thinking behind that? Was that flavour-led or was that proficiency-led?
So similar to our conversation last night, Lakewood, I think they're doing the same thing. So because in order to make things more efficient, in terms of efficiency, if you have a conventional big spirit and a big watch and a small spirit still, you have to wait for the second distillation to finish. But with this kind of system, we are able to do 2 watch distillation with a second distillation. And while you do second distillation, another new first distillation can be started. So by the time you finish 2 distillation, watch distillation again, you can do another second distillation. So everything will be very smooth and continuous. So that was the reason behind. Because from combine experience, I noticed that we have to wait, sometimes quite long for the second distillation to finish. So that's why we came up with this concept.
And just one thing I was thinking just when I was tasting these, I think, well, that's 4 months, and it's clearly going to move into its maturity very quickly, And perhaps people might think, a quick maturing whiskey is not one that will necessarily last a long time. It seems to be almost like a paradox. But in your mind, are you making a whiskey to do that, to be drinkable and mature early, but also capable of long term?
That's right.
And then how do you then bridge that, what appears to be a gap?
Okay, so yes, I think Dave was exactly spot on. Because as a new distillery, I think we don't want to have too much financial burden sometimes. We want to have initially.
I see the nodding going on here from the big boss.
Initially, we want to have a relatively faster cycle so that we can get things going. But then also at the same time, this new make is designed to also withstand long-term maturation. So the roadmap here at Komoro is to do initially non-age statement, starting with 3-year-old, and then 5, 8, 10. And then by the time we have 12 years old, we will finish the non-age statement, and then starting from 12 to 16 to 20. And then after 20 is every 5 years, 25 and 30. So the new make is actually designed to do both. Initially for short term, but then eventually for long term. So that is something that I couldn't do at Kaplan because of the heat. I don't blame Kaplan because with the subtropical heat, it's very difficult to do age statement. Can you imagine if you have your liquid in the cask for 20 years with 8 to 14% annual share every year? By the time it's nothing inside. So you cannot blame them. So Kaplan is about short maturation, mostly on wood extraction. But here at Komoro is about oxidation and also interaction with the wood between the spirit and the wood.
Fantastic. I'm going to throw this open and then we'll have a hockey conversation here. And there's 100 people out there. I'm sure all of you have got questions. Anybody like to ask Ian a question? Yes.
You were talking about the good water quality.
Sorry. Could you stand up and give your name? And anybody wait for the mic to come before you start speaking. So that sounds very stern.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you for your great speech. I'm Xiang from Korea, working at Golden Blue. And you were talking about the good water quality from this site. And is it actually spring water from the mountain, or are you using the borehole or any other water sources for the process water? Yes.
That's right. So in this area, we use natural water from Summer Mountain. So because of the volcanic nature of this area, Mama Sama is actually live. When I came here initially, I saw that how come every day there's a small cloud on top of the mountain, and then the second day it's still there. I eventually found out from Koji that it's actually live. So with this kind of volcanic nature of this area, we can have quite a lot of minerals in the water. So, at the back, we have this Komoro water. That's actually very similar to the water that we use. That's the one. So, so it's natural mountain water here in this area.
Thank you.
I love the optimism that lives in Japan, that you'll build a distillery next to an active volcano. Health and safety.
Apparently, it's very hopeful.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, it's every 50 years. Yeah, so it lasted 49 years and 6 months ago. So who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of days? Any more questions from you lovely and friendly shy people? Yes.
Hello, I'm from China. I have a question, no question. So, for the many distilleries that produce different flavor new makes, for example, your new make is fruity and the body is light, and during maturation you have many barrels to choose. So when you choose a barrels, what's your experience? Which kind of barrels you seem to compare with your new make, and which can also keep your distillery character? And I know you worked with Dr. James Wan, and quite curious on whether there's a guide from the molecules can guide the moment of maturation, can choose which barrels which can compare to our new makes. Thanks.
Right. So, thanks to Dr. James Wan again. He introduced me to many good suppliers and also reliable cask suppliers from around the world. So, in terms of wood policy here at Komoro, sherry, and when it comes to sherry, as you know, different types of sherries, Oloroso, Fino, and so on. But also, experiment from the US and many other countries from around the world. But also this time in Japan, we would like to experiment some non-oak woods indigenous to Japan. So that's how we source our casks for the distillery. Basically, it's all about trial and errors once again. So we would like to innovate and do as many trial and errors as possible. I know that non-oak may not be workable in Europe or in the UK. You have to have oak.
In Scotland, but in England, you can use whatever you want.
Yeah, so that's the same here in Japan. You have the freedom to try new things. But of course, at the end of the day, if the quality and the flavor is very different from what traditional consumer would consider as a whiskey, I think that is not the way to go. We want to make sure, at the end of the day, it's still a whiskey with a whiskey type of characters for you to enjoy. So I hope that answered your questions.
One of the things again, location. It was touched upon a couple of times. We're here in Komoro itself. How important is location then to the creation of not just flavor, but maybe the thinking behind it?
Yes, I think when it comes to setting up a brand new distillery, location is actually, I think, quite important. So as we talked about tourism just now, you want your location to be accessible by visitors. I know some distilleries are very remote, and maybe also in wintertime, due to heavy snow, you have to close down, shut down. But the reason why we chose here, part of it was also to do with easy access. For example, from Tokyo to come here was only about 1 hour by bullet train. So that was one of the reasons, but mostly because of the natural resources. So water here, by the way, the water here not only very good quality, but also very cold. So it's so cold that in summertime, if you wash dishes with the water, your hand is still quite uncomfortable. So that's why we can have the very cold water to be a cooler when it comes to condensation. So in a way, we save energy in some way. We don't have to chill the water, it's so cold for the purpose.
So that condition, that element is vitally important. Any other questions? Ollie? Yeah. Oliver,
You said you had a cocktail yeast. How did you go about coming up with that idea? And you said it was a trial and error. Did you do trial and error, or was it you knew what you wanted to do from your previous experience?
Yes. So trial and error. That's once again what we did. So we tried different combinations and different suppliers, but two of them are very common, Fermentis and Lagomon. But with others, new ones that I didn't work with before. So we combine them together. And also when it comes to the combination for the cocktail, different percentages as well. So, certain percentage for this, for that, and then for that. And then you combine them and then you do the trial and error. So since June last year, we actually, until November, we did a series of different combinations and also different percentages, and to come up with something like this. But to be honest, as we said, anytime before 1 year, I think we still have time to do some more experiments to fine tune. Because I think that's one thing about Japan. Always constantly trying to improve. I know some people say that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But in Japan, even if it's not broke, you still try to improve. I think I really admire that kind of spirit here in Japan, because I think in Taiwan we also have similar kind of mentality to try and improve constantly.
Any other? Yes, sorry. That's If you can't stand up, don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the great presentation. Since here in Japan, basically we have to import our malt. I was wondering what kind of policy you have with the malt using the future plan, because I guess in Kagoshima it's very difficult for us to procure malt. But I'm sure around his area is much cooler, so I guess that you will be able to grow good crops around yourselves. So I want to know about your policy about malt.
Yes,
Thank you.
Actually, Tanaka-san has 100% Japanese malt. So actually, Koji is also working with some local farmers and also local, related authorities to try and grow our own barley in this region. So that is something that we also try to emphasize. But before that, we have crisp malt.
Full marks for mentioning sponsor.
Champagne's on you. So with crisp malt, I think we save a lot of hassle. Because everything's done nicely in Scotland, so already malted, and also the yield is very good. So, but we constantly try to source local ingredients and local raw materials if possible. Yeah, I think Kudo-san is also a person of innovation. He's also constantly trying to do the same thing. So I think, at the end of the day, you want to do something original with your own quality and character and the originality.
How much of that is driven by you wanting to link it to location, and how much is that sustainability? Because the more you can draw from resources closer to the distillery, the better.
That's right, yes. So, if we can grow barley in sufficient amount of quantity locally, I think that would also be a very good solution. But at the end of the day, you still want to increase your complexity. So I think it's a good idea always to mix. So even if we can find good quantity and also good quality local barley, at the end of the day, I think mixing with most from Scotland or from England or from other places, that is something we don't limit ourselves. We keep our options open all the time because when it comes to products, you can have different series. So that's that's the idea.
So the crisp contract, you're looking worried there, you see. The crisp contract is secure. Just kind of picking up on that, when you were talking about using different yeasts and everything, and thinking about a Japanese approach to it. The Japanese approach has often been making multiple streams, different distilling, different styles, having a blender's mentality and then blending them together. Is that something that you want to pursue in the future?
That's right. So, but instead of having different production lines, what Jim always said to me, since task is the main influence to the final quality. So what we do here is we try to experiment with as many types of barrels and casks from around the world. So by the end of fermentation, we can, maturation, we can blend them together. That's the idea and the philosophy.
So the blending mentality, running all the way through. Questions? Yes. Okay.
This is Lee from Korea Golden Room. Thank you for your speech. Can I ask the director how much did it cost to set up this?
I advise you to talk to Coach.
That's a talk private.
That's right. I mean, to be honest, Koji and I, and also Yoshi, we divide words. So I he looks after the finance, and then Yoshi will look after the management. So that's how we combine, our efforts together. So I advise you to talk to Koji.
I think the rule is if you think it's going to cost 10 million, it'll cost you 20.
Minimum.
Not right, Ollie?
Hi.
Ollie at the moment is building the most expensive distillery in Scotland, so he knows all about it. Any other questions? Guys? Right. Okay, I'll ask one. In your touch points and your inspirations, where do they come from? Obviously the work of Jim Swan, but also in terms of maybe other whiskey styles. Where are you picking from?
Whiskey style.
Yeah. I don't know, or just in general inspiration.
I think you just have to, experiment with all kinds of wood. But for example, last week in Yokohama Whiskey Festival, I tried something that is 28 years old from a Scotch distillery, and it was amazing. The complexity and the depths and the layers of flavors was unbelievable. So, that was the inspiration to people like me and Koji and Yoshi, because I think hopefully 20 years or 30 years later, our whiskey will be able to taste similar, in that kind of, not exactly the same, but perhaps in that direction.
Yeah.
So I constantly search for inspiration from other producers. So whether domestic here in Japan or Scotland or from France or anywhere, I think you see I think the beauty of whiskey is every producer has his own character and story to tell, and that's why when to be honest, when I try to when I set up my own consultancy, I approach one of #1 food and beverage producer in Taiwan. And I said that, are you interested in setting up a distillery? You know what he said to me? He said that, no, that's something that we don't want to do. You know why? Because Scotland is already so established, and then Japan as well, and India and everywhere. I don't think we have a competitive edge. But you see, I thought that was a very wrong kind of mentality, because you don't have to go big or go very sophisticated to begin with. You can do something with your own style and with your own story and with your own quality. And once you have got everything, I think consumers will appreciate what you try to do. And that's the competitive edge, you can gain.
Are you making whiskey with an idea of who you're going to be selling it to? So is the consumer dictating in any way the style, or are you making the style and then hoping that the consumer will love it?
Both. So, for example, in Taiwan, I think consumers love heavy sherry. So, for that particular market, I think many producers use a lot of Oloroso, PX, those kind of dark and heavy sherry casks. But sometimes it's all about the blender's own expression. So, you can work with different kinds of wood and then to come up with a final product and then to show to consumers. And I think, once again, if you have a style and quality, I'm sure consumers will appreciate it. So, both ways, depends on what kind of situation and market.
Any questions from your lovely people? Was that a question, Billy, or were you just scratching your head? So, the one
I have a question about
Yes, sir.
getting back to the. Excuse me.
A couple times the concept of like whiskey tourism has come up, and obviously, from what I can tell, your Komoro is trying to become another Chichibu, like a whiskey destination. And will you eventually have like shuttle buses from the train station up here, because we know you can't drink and drive.
Actually, we do have that. Komoro Station and Sakudaiga Station, I think we have, timetable for, buses to take our interested customers to come and visit us, and then try the whiskey, so that they don't have to drive. We can take them back to the station to get on Shinkansen and so on. So yeah, with that in mind, actually Yoshie planned everything in detail 1 year before we started production. Yes.
And actually, this might be an opportunity for the Yoshie to actually see what some of the initiatives are. Maybe we can bring Mike to you. I'm just wondering, so we run in the room.
Well, thank you very much for the question. So, indeed, transportation is something very important, and especially for the people who like to enjoy whiskey. So that's why. So it's, as a matter of fact, it's only 10 minutes drive from the Komoro station. So we organize a shuttle bus. So whenever people make a reservation, they can book the shuttle bus. But going forward, we'll like have a regular, shuttle bus. But it may take a little time. So we actually, time to time, organize a kind of circular bus when we organize a festival. So after this World Whisky Forum, we actually plan for the Komoro Distillery Whisky Festival, and we tie up with the various shops in the Komoro City, and we organize a shuttle bus. So every visitor can hop on and off the circle bus and every 30 minutes, and also enjoy the other spots in the Komoro City. Oh yeah, and regarding the whiskey tourism, we also have a lot of collaboration with local restaurants and hotels. And last month, so we thought of, well, by the way, we can have a very good dinner. That is, we cooperate with the Grand Exif Karizawa, and the chef is so wonderful. And we tied up with them and provide the food pairing, whiskey themed pairing French course dinner. So there are 10 courses and 10 dishes, and that is themed to whiskey and Komoro Distillery. They use our the malts, and also they use their new make and newborn, and every visitor. So start with the toast with the highball made by the new make, and then finish with the newborn. For the people who still wants to enjoy the whiskey pairing, so that on the 22nd, we plan to offer you the opportunity to enjoy that, the food pairing experiences. But that is one of the several examples we are doing. So going forward, we would like to do more and more. Of course, our scale-wise, is we are much smaller than Chichibu. Chichibu's done for many years. So, but we are doing our own way and to offer the experience to others. Thanks very much for the question.
And I'm not going to let you sit down, actually. It kind of bring something up. It's something I've noticed around the world, in Scotland and all around the world, that the role of the distillery seems to have changed in recent years. That a distillery was in the heart of the community, and then it just seemed to be that building over there. And it strikes me that part of the new whiskey, 21st century whiskey, is re-establishing those links with community, and the distillery being a hub for education and also for civic pride. Is that part of the initiative?
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you very much. This is one of the hidden themes of the branding of Komoro Distillery. So we would like to make the Komoro as a global brand in the future. And we have one time had a lengthy discussion with the mayor of Komoro, and they said, oh, well, we have a big town in Karizawa. This is the part of the Karizawa region, but Komoro is not recognized well as a destination for tourism. And people in Komoro does not have enough civic pride. So that area, maybe we can work together. And when we introduce the idea of Komoro and how we'd like to make this brand the global brand, so it was, his eyes open like this. Yes, this is exactly what I wanted. And and we realized there are so many resources available for the tourists. There are a lot of historical places, very nice cherry blossom spots, and very nice onsen spots. So if we can link up together and make it as a package and offer and communicate with the people who are interested in tourism, who are seeking the nice experience in Japan. So that is something that we can do together, and we can do something greater if we can work together well. So the food pairing is one of the many potentials. And for example, we had a little kind of experimental collaboration last autumn. So there's, as you see, there's many apple orchards around this region. So every orchard is very little, a very tiny scale, but they make very nice apple. So what we did is we approached to the old apple orchard and let's collaborate together. So what we did is that every visitor went to the apple orchard, picked the apple there, and bring that apple to our distillery. So we will offer a very nice, the capital use the apple, and even, not only that, they can get a discount. So that is one of the examples of
Great addition. I don't know which one of you wants to answer this, but what would be your best advice to a new distiller? And what has been the biggest surprise, or maybe shock, as you've been establishing Komoro?
It is a question to you. But we're still new.
So we are really new. So to make it, to have a great product is one thing. To make it a successful business is another. This is what I learned in past 7 years. So to be successful, so you need to have a long-term vision and plan well ahead, and also well capitalized. Make sure you can outlast until your bottle going off. So also I think we want to be think out of the box. That means in the traditional whiskey business, you probably selling casks and selling some other stuff before your bottle is ready. But we want to sell experience first, sell dreams first, and the last thing we sell is our bottles.
Something in between is an experience, right?
Yes.
Dream, experience, and
Great experience, Bob. Remember that. Great answer. No, thank you so much for that. Just another quick before throw back into the floor. It's also just thinking in terms of the fact we've got so many distillers here, and tomorrow we've got 4 Japanese distillers speaking together. Do you find that there is now a collegiate grouping within Japanese distillers that you're sharing experience and advice and information? Yeah. In Japan, are you talking with and consulting with your other friends, your other colleagues within the industry? Is it all Japanese distillers really working together to start or restart a new wave of Japanese whiskey?
So as I mentioned just now, we constantly seek our inspiration from other producers, whether domestic here in Japan or newcomers in Taiwan and Japan and also around the world. And personally, I think that the best place to do that is to attend whiskey festivals and whiskey shows. I think that's when you can exchange ideas, all having a forum like this, to share ideas and also learn from each other. So that's something we constantly do. Yeah. So for example, here in the Hokuriku area, we have Saburo, which is also a producer of whiskey and sake as well. So I've been to the distillery and talked to the gentleman who runs the distillery, and he's also a man of innovation. So sometimes we can get new ideas from each other. So that I think Dave, as you said, I fully agree. That's the best way to learn and also to grow and innovate.
one thing, but I'd like to, I think this is a very good opportunity to mention this, but personally, so very thankful and appreciate all the Japanese, the British colleagues who has made the Japanese history. Without 100 years of effort, this project would never happen. So, on this occasion, I really like to explain and like to express our gratitude and really thankful for the materials.
Thank you. Question? Yes, one at the back.
Hi, I'm Tiny Fletcher from Komoro Distillery in Edinburgh. A couple of years ago, there was the Japanese Whisky Association sort of founded, and there was some new rules brought in. I'd be interested to hear if that changed anything for how you're operating, or because if that has been a very positive effect on Japanese whiskey and the considerations that the big producers certainly are undertaking.
At Komoro, because of when I was working at Japa, my Japa experience, everything was produced. It's produced in-house. So since the very beginning, Toshi and I, we discussed, we also would like to continue that kind of ethos. Everything is produced in-house, except, multi-barley might be imported, casks might be imported. but the new make is made in Komoro, 100%. So whether this movement or no this movement, Carla will always, Komoro will always do everything in-house anyway. So that is something, what we would like to do.
That is one of the main questions that will be coming up tomorrow's afternoon session. So hold on to that thought, Harry. We'll have lots on it tomorrow. Any other questions? Yes, Hans. Yep, you can ask as many as you want. But we'll need the microphone.
Thank you so much for this. I have a question about cocktails, because Japanese whiskey is quite relatively it has a very pies in it, and also wondering about cocktails in it. It seems to be we make it like kind of affordable whiskey. But I was wondering that you said that you don't have non-age statement, 12 years, and how is it going to be prepared? It's going to be used for cocktails, because I thought I am assuming that whiskey is going to be very premium. I was wondering what you have whiskey and cocktail like this. Thank you.
The quality will be very premium, but the price will be affordable. I think that is Koji and I what we talked about. Because at the end of the day, what we produce, we would like everyone to try and to drink. Occasionally, you might buy 2 bottles, one to keep, one to drink. But at the end of the day, it's all about real consumption. So Komoro is about premium quality and premium experience. But price-wise, we would like to make it as accessible as possible to consumers. And whether you like to drink it neat or in cocktails or the way you like it, I think that's up to the individual consumer. And we encourage everyone to drink whiskey the way you enjoy it. It's just that, for example, for our other producer colleagues, we all know that when you really want to appreciate the quality of a whiskey, you add a little bit of water for the flavor to come out. But apart from that, you can drink whiskey the way you like it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My pocket money is very limited, so I'm glad to get it. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you.
And also, just kind of tangentially to that one, Ian, is there any way that you can stop? Because this whiskey is going to appear relatively soon. It's going to be, everybody's hugely excited about it. Is there any way you can stop it just being immediately going on to the secondary market, or is that just an inevitability?
I think when it comes to secondary market, it's something that we cannot really control. But I know that Chilo-san has a very good secondary and tertiary market, very popular. But hopefully we can do that. We can be like that. But once again, Komoro is all about affordable quality to enjoy. So second market, that is something. Personally, I think it's quite difficult to control.
I think we've time for one last question. We've time for 2 last questions. I'll come to you in a minute. So we've got Paul John. No, we'll come to William first, and then come to you.
Hi, William Dolby from Whisky Distillery. So just following up on the question about accessibility and so on, when you come to selling and marketing your whiskey, how are you thinking about the domestic Japanese market versus exporting it? Because at least when I've been here, a lot of the Japanese whiskey consumers often are saying, yeah, you can't get any bloody Japanese whiskey in Japan. So is that something, Ian, that you're kind of going to over allocate to Japan, or how are you thinking for the domestic market?
This one is about marketing.
Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so since we are aiming to become a global brand, so probably we'll do at least half of that to export. The main markets we focus on globally will be EU, Asia-Pac, and North America. So of course, we will also sell our whiskey in domestic Japan as well. Yes.
My name is Paul John. I'm from Japa Studies. I just wanted your thoughts about when you were planning to build this distillery. Did you have expansion in your mind?
Did I have
Expansion in your mind?
expansion? Yes.
When you're planning your infrastructure and the design of your distillery.
That's right.
So have you factored in if you're going to expand, how are you going to do?
Yes, yes. I think expansion is part of our plan. So once again, Koji is constantly looking for, new, whether it's new sites or new area for more, especially maturation warehouses. I think production-wise, this is quite manageable, quite enough. But when it comes to maturation, we need more warehouses to store and mature, especially for the long term. As we said, we want to celebrate 30 years of Komoro with our 30-year-old single malt Japanese whiskey. So we need a lot of warehouses into the future. So that is definitely part of the expansion.
I was going to say there's not any more time, but Yumi's going to ask questions. How could I refuse?
Thank you, Dave. Just a quick question. This is Yumi from Chichiburi Distillery. Are you more focusing on the single malt whiskey, or more have you ever thought about making blended whiskey or blended malt whiskey?
That's right. So at Komoro, it's all about single malt whiskey. Koji and I and Yoshi, we love single malt whiskey, so it's only about single malt whiskey. But once again, we keep our options open. You never know in the future what can happen. But at the moment, at least, we focus on single malt only. Yeah, for the foreseeable future. Yes.
Simply because Zoe has sat down. There's a question very, very fine. And this will be, I'm afraid, the last question.
Wants to represent the very last row here. Nick from, the southern part of the house. Ian, can you go into a little bit more detail on the newborn, in terms of cask selection?
Okay, so this newborn here, this is a combination of several different woods. Casks. So at the end of the day, it's all about balance. So what we try to achieve here is, hopefully to give you something that is fruity, with a little bit wood character, and also, complexity in every way. So we try to make it even. The James Wan always said that, like a crystal ball, you want to have a round and smooth structure or texture for consumer to enjoy. So, that was the intention for this particular one. And also we share this particular expression, newborn, last week in Yokohama. And I think it was quite well received. So, it's a good encouragement to us more.
Well, I think thank you so much for the past 5 minutes. We've almost an hour and a half of wonderful insights. I think what comes out of this is the care and the passion and the complexity of the thinking behind Komoro. That it's not just a distillery, that it's a distillery that's related and inextricably linked to its location and community, and making some amazing spirit already. So please put your hands together for the entire team. we're going to take a wee break.
Thank you for coming back. I think you're very, very well behaved. And we'll see what it's like by Wednesday. But yeah, at the moment, you're wonderful. Just a very quick session, but very important session. This isn't an easy thing to organise. It relies on amazing hosts who we've heard of from already, and also some wonderful sponsors who really helped the whole thing essentially just get off the ground. So our thanks from the speaking from the four of us, our thanks to all the sponsors for essentially helping this exist. So thank you very much. And I just figured it would be really good, it would be good not to have some comments and thoughts from them, really just to describe what they're doing, because they're actively involved in the whisky trade in different ways. And will be very handy for you to get to know as well. So it's good face to a name. And the first face that you put a name to is Colin Prince.
Thank you.
Off you go.
Okay, great. Yes, I'm Colin Johnston from Chris Bolts. I'm the Sales and Marketing Director. The last time I had to do a speech in Japan was about 15 years ago, when I was a junior high school teacher in Fukui Prefecture in the west of Japan. Now, then I was in front of about 450 junior high school students, and that was the toughest crowd I've ever done, really. So I don't think 100 distillers should be, you will hopefully be a little kinder to me than those junior high school students. So if you'll indulge me, I'll say a few words, I'll attempt a few words in Japanese. I'll then translate that and say a few words on behalf of Chris. So, please be kind, kinder than the junior high school students. So, 皆さんこんにちは。私はコリン・ジョンソンと申しまして、クリス社にて営業ディレクターを務めております。今年、美しく長野県の地で開催される小諸蒸留所での世界ウイスキーフォーラムのメインスポンサーとなりましていることを大変嬉しく思っております。この名誉あるフォーラムにお招きいただきましてことに感謝いただきます。So, really, my name, you know that part. And we're just delighted to be here in beautiful Nagano Ken supporting the World Whisky Forum this edition at Komoro Distillery. We're delighted to have been given the honour to be the main sponsor here, and we're also delighted to have the trust of Yin Shang as well as the supplier here at the distillery in its first flush of spirit making. At Crisp, we say that our purpose is to form long-lasting relationships to bring flavour and joy to life. That's what we all do in this room. We ultimately bring people together through, on our side, beer and spirit, to bring people together to share stories and to celebrate, our collective humanity. That's our purpose, and we do that through providing hopefully a fantastic raw material to you guys in this room. Our reason for being here, yes, it's to form those new relationships, but really it's to be involved in conversation. It's always struck me as I've been in sales at Crisp for the past 7 years, by going out and having the conversations with the distillers, we get to really understand what you need. And for a long time in Scotland, what do they need? Sugar to make spirits, to get a high alcohol yield. Now, that's been the story for a long time, but I think that story is now changing. Starting to have a lot more conversations now really about flavour, which is very, very refreshing as a brewer originally, and flavour is really what it's all about. I've heard again, many a time in Scotland, that old phrase that the vast majority of the flavour comes from the wood. I personally think, maybe the first controversial statement of the forum, but I personally think that sentence has an ending, that the vast majority of the flavour comes from the wood if you let it. I think that malt, as a champion of malt up here, has a big role to play. And so we want to be involved in the conversations with all of you about how we can help bring the malt flavour to the game, whether that be through heritage malts, different barley varieties, local provenance, specialty malts, and different novel cereals. Because it's really about, by forging those relationships, having those conversations together, then we're able to really bring flavour and joy to life. So thank you so much for allowing us to be the main sponsor, and we're really delighted, myself and Steve here, delighted to have those conversations over the next few days and be involved in this community. Thank you.
So pass over to you, Brent. What's happening in Appalachia?
All right, I'll be brief because I know everyone's probably hungry here. But I'm Brett Wolfington. I'm with the West Virginia Great Barrel Company. And we're based out of southern West Virginia, supplier of new and evolving into used barrel cooperage as well. But I wanted to give you guys just a little oversight on what our company does and who we are. We started up in 2020. Actually, the last time I was at this conference was 4 years ago. And at that time, we had not yet made a single barrel. We were just a handful of people starting a company in the middle of really nowhere in Appalachia. And fast forward to today, and we're closing in on almost 1 million barrels. And we've grown substantially to now over 250 employees and 4 locations. So we're rapidly becoming one of the larger cooperages in America. And now it's time that we feel like we're going to expand into the used barrel side as well. But really who we are is a company that's driven by innovation, a company that's driven by technology and sophisticated manufacturing processes. We've pioneered the use of robotics and a lot of high-tech manufacturing for making barrels to make them tighter, to make them less prone to leakage. Our goal is 0 leaks, and we are very close to achieving that objective. We're also working with new toasting techniques. So we've pioneered the use of infrared toasting on a large scale, and all of our barrels have the capability of being toasted using infrared technology. That's something that I think would be of significant use to single malt distillers especially, but it also finds a lot of use in bourbon. And on the secondary market, when we start getting our barrels back from bourbon distillers, I think that's also going to be something that adds a lot of value because it creates a much deeper reservoir of flavor in those barrels that's going to last beyond a single use. So in addition to that, we're a company that's built based upon values, and our founding actually has its roots in tragedy. In 2016, shortly before we were founded, a flood hit our community, and our company, our investors got together to initially rebuild homes, and then later to create jobs. And looking back in retrospect, it seemed like a very smart decision to build a cooperage in the middle of some of the biggest white oak forests in America. But at the time, it was a pretty challenging proposition, especially for people who had no expertise in cooperage at all. But we viewed that as a strength, and we brought a lot of modern manufacturing processes to bear, and have been able to make some really incredible products there. So in addition to all of that, we have been experimenting with a lot of unique woods, species in our area. We've done some cherry barrels with some of our larger customers that have been very interesting. And we're open to experimenting with all of you. We're really interested in working with distillers, large and small, to try to evolve new characters, new ideas, and advance the craft of making barrels. So if any of you are interested, we'd love to talk to you. I'm sure we'll meet all of you while we're here. Myself and Nico, our sales manager, back there. But we're very thankful to be a sponsor of the World Whiskey Forum. Very thankful to be here. Very thankful to our hosts, and looking forward to a great conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Somebody who has been at every single one of the forums up here.
Not quite.
Not quite. It just seems that way.
It is.
Nice.
It's just memorable, but maybe it's not that memorable. Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting us to this incredible forum, and inviting us to be sponsors too. I'm Matt Chapman. I'm here on behalf of my company, which is called Contagious. I'm not contagious, my company is contagious. We're a brand design and strategy agency. We've been working in the drink sector since 2001. I'm the founder. We're now up to nearly 50 of us. But we've been working in the drink sector since about 2001. We set it up because we had a number of whiskey clients, myself and my colleague back then, and we wanted to expand and work into the drink sector because it was by far the most exciting sector we could possibly work in. Before that, I worked in banks and automotive, and I can tell you now it's not as exciting as working in the drink sector. I've always wanted to come to Karazhan, well, actually, Komoro, but we go back to, actually Dave will remember this, go back and Jan back to 2012 when number one actually bought the remaining stock at Karazhan, and we were invited to design the remaining, some of the remaining casks, so the 1960 in particular, 1963, 1964, and some other casks too. So I was very lucky enough to be invited over by number one to launch the Karazhan 1960 at the Whisky Festival in Tokyo back in 2013 maybe, or 12, I can't actually remember now. And I was telling somebody earlier, we came for two nights. One night where we did the launch and one night we went out and then I left again. And I never had the opportunity to come to Karazhan. So this has really been a destination I've always wanted to come to, is this region, and I feel very fortunate to do that and come to Komoro. I'll be very quick. Contagious, we work across a number of things, so from the brand design right through to packaging, and then the strategy inside the brand as well, packaging, and we also we have an environments team that bring experiences and environments to life too, so you've done an amazing job here, can I say, about blending the visitor and the consumer experience with actually production facilities as well, and that's something that we find very, very important, to think about the brand even in your production facilities, so having that from the very beginning is so important. And I think that's about me really. I'm not here really to sell Contagious, I'm here as a whiskey lover, but if you want to talk to me about anything to do with your brand, obviously, you can give me a shout. If you want to talk about whiskey, I'd be even happy to talk about it. Thank you very much.
And then last but definitely not least, Alexander.
New process. Every day we have trucks coming here worldwide. They come to the quality control pass here, and they bring the new plate.
The cost arrives at the warehouse.
The cost itself will be sustainable.
So essentially the metal ring that holds the wood together, that holds the stage together, the metal ring is taken off.
The barrel is made of in between 20, 30 different states. So
firstly, shaving a very small amount of the inside of the stage, but all pieces of wood to make up the cast.
Probably around a centimeter to get the inner grain of the barrel, feeding from point to the pan, again producing previous charge on the car.
Hello, my name is Alex Sacon, founder of ASC Barrels. It's emotional. It's not so easy to speak because I feel very honored to be here in Japan today in Komoro, but also with you. It's been my journey as a barrelman started about 25 years ago, and it was in Japan. I was raised and trained in Burgundy to make wine. And then later on, the family Rothschild also raised and trained for selling the wine through the world, and Japan was my first market. I remember myself coming to Japan the very first time, be lost as a young Frenchman, not speaking the language, not knowing the culture, feeling like in France, how heavy can be the communication when you don't know the rules. And I asked my mentors at the time, what do you recommend? And they say, just be yourself, be humble. Japan will like a common point, which is sharing this ambition to always do better, to always enhance what we do. Always trying new things tomorrow to make it better. So I was just traveling at the time with a map of Burgundy rolled in my bags, and I unrolled the map in Tokyo. The time everybody was Enoteka, Hirosesan, and I was very impressed. And I just point and I say, well, the wine you love so much, the wine you trust on it comes from this very single point in the map. And this is almost all what I have to say on it. I was very sensitive to everything Ian said, and also the partner about this, be humble, but also be proud. What you will produce here in Komoro will be unique because this is Komoro, and people will remember mostly Komoro more than just another whiskey. And this is all what I hope for the way to success of Komoro. And ASC Barrels is very humble in what we do. We are specialized in used barrel. We're not specialized in new barrel, even we do it. This is how we start. Just took my experience as a winemaker to select the best barrel around the world through the network we built. Another humble man is Gontran Baudouin, which I usually call my brother in wood, with us today, and we combined together almost 30 years of selecting the best used barrel around the world to address the best distillery. And many of you start humble and became a very strong brand, and we're very proud of this. And so more than making barrels, we're very proud of the network we built. And when Colin, another sensitive man here, called me and said, well, Alex, the Whisky World Forum is your family. So this is not a competitor. This is not. No, it's actually we're very complementary to each other. And in this very challenging time of the global history and business we're doing, we're very lucky to be in a successful business, very optimistic. I think the rest of the world doesn't have the same days we have, and we need to be all together. And right now with my wife Noam, we work mostly on almost like a foundation of in Asen, which is not a company, it's more the community of our barrel users. We chose with Noam to have no salespeople, to work direct with our distillers, to better know every day what they need, what is the evolution, and to adapt. And we thought that rather than selling anything, the best link will be the first generation of distillers, barrel users. They were using our barrels to speak with the new ones and make the family growing up in, let's say, honest way. We were helped by one other courageous decision, which was to develop what we call upcycle barrel. And I'm also very sensitive here. I feel very little to be in front of the Swan family and Ian, because when I decided to make this huge journey in 2014 around the world to find the best refurbisher barrel, I already traveled the world to find the best craftsman, the very last Mohican of taking care of used barrel in the world where there is more and more new barrels every day. But after 3-5 years, you just put a 300 years old tree to the flower bed, and I was not agree with that. And so we decide to go further, better understand first the ingredients, like a French chef. First, there is no, we have to be on board. If you don't have good ingredients, you can have the best process, the best machine, you're not going to produce anything honest, good. So first, to understand what kind of used barrel to address for aging, for finishing, for upcycling. And finally, every day with you, custom made, sorry for my French, those upcycling production to specific spirits you're producing. And at the end, the barrel is just a vessel. It has to be also on the backstage. We're not here to be dominant, we're just here to be the best companion for your success. Thank you very much.
Thank you from us for supporting World Whisky Forum. And guys, I think you've heard some fantastic your introduction to these all these companies, and please take advantage of the fact that they're here. Good business can be done. You're now free to go. I mean, I don't mean home. You're free to go downstairs. I've been told